I love the opening shot of Syrax and Sea Smoke. The dragons were claimed by husband and wife for a long time. Now Sea Smoke is claimed by another son of Corlys Velaryon. You can see despite any relationship, Sea Smoke is ready to take on Syrax and Rhaenyra if they seem like they're going to hurt Adam. And when you look at dragon lineage, you see so many of them had close relations, but if a new rider comes along that is at odds with them, those dragons instantly forgo those relationships, those connections to defend their rider. Think about Vhagar. Been around since before the conquest, flew and hung out with a lot of dragons, even some are descended from her, and she's still willing to absolutely lay the smack down if necessary. Fantastic scene Alicent complaining about having no voice anymore, which, by the way, if you remain friends with Rhaenyra, she would have listened to you, Alicent, so kinda did this to yourself. I love how the Maester is listening to her complain about this and is just like, oh, cool, okay, well don't worry about being less pretty, because we can hide that scar for you. Fantastic. Oh my gosh, and seeing that the idiot killing all the rat catchers has led to rats being everywhere in the Red Keep, just fantastic. I really want to see a disease outbreak in King's Landing because of what he did. I gotta say, for a penultimate episode of a Game of Thrones show, this wasn't really hitting the mark. Now, with the Kingsguard lackeys of Aegon, I don't think they deserve the wall. They didn't start the riot, the lack of food did. Alicent arguably led to it more with chaos and death by forcing them to sheathe their swords. If they would have had their swords out, things would have went a little bit better. So I don't know how they can blame the Kingsguard for starting the riot. I get Jace being PO'd by low-born people getting dragons. Rhaenyra placed dragon eggs in all her kids' cradles to prove they were legitimate. If that doesn't prove that anymore, anyone can challenge Jace. And you can see how Baela looked over at Jace when they learned of the small folk claiming a dragon. She understands what it means for him, and therefore her if she ends up marrying him. Corlys saying House Velaryon wasn't dragon lords and asking if Adam and Alan's mom had Targaryen ancestry was kind of weird. My guy, your house is mixed with the Targaryens for a while. The Dragon Lord DNA is in you. You're not a pure Velaryon descendant. Just Corlys thinking, oh, you must have gotten some Dragon Lord, some Targaryen blood through your mother. No, bro, you have Targaryen blood and DNA in you through marriages. Great to see the actual progress with Daemon in the Riverlands. Oscar just schooled the shit out of him. I loved all the looks between Daemon and Oscar, and even Sir Simon, who is absolutely a gem. And obviously, Oscar had to lay the smackdown on Daemon to get the Riverlands to respect him and get behind him. And Daemon eventually understood that. At first, he was a little PO'd, like, why isn't this kid instantly bowing down and doing what I want? And then he realized, oh, he has to do this in order to earn the respect of the Riverlords and then get them on my side. Which also led to the beheading of Lord Blackwood, because there needed to be some retribution for what happened. And Daemon knew that, and once he realized what he had to do, he did not hesitate. By the way, Sir Simon really, he dressed the nines for his Lord Paramount, and I greatly respect that. The Viserys hallucination was right. I swear to God, I really hope after this episode we're done with these hallucinations. Maybe now that Daemon has his River Lords, he can get out of Harrenhal and we can stop with the hallucinations. But the hallucination of Viserys was right. He should have never had the crown. It weighed too heavily on him. He wasn't meant to rule. I still do find it funny Alice saying, oh, maybe the person that doesn't want it is best suited to rule. Well, okay, Rhaenyra's not the only one that didn't want it. Aegon also didn't want it, so what are you saying here? Going next door to the Vale, why does Rhaena always have the same expression? It's the same wide-eyed look on her face. Just, I need variety. I need her to make some other face. I need her eyes not to always be open to the max. Now, I'm guessing one of two things are going to happen here. Either one, she takes Sheepstealer, or she gets killed and a wild Nettles appears. The Vale's been a little bit iffy for me this season as well, so I'm hoping something exciting happens. Alicent pissing off to go camping in the middle of a war is just priceless. Who doesn't want to go for dramatic swims when the fate of your family hangs in the balance? And how many episodes have we seen her submerged in water? Anyways, good on her for taking some R&R in the middle of a blood-drenched war between siblings she started. It's all about that self-care, Alicent, and you got it down. Now, Jace confronting Rhaenyra was a long time coming. One, that woman just ups and leaves without telling people where she's going all the time. Like, lady, you need to let people know. Two, Jace is right. What is to stop someone that came from nothing and now has all this power in controlling a dragon to decide, hey, maybe I deserve the throne. I mean, Jace is a bastard. I'm a bastard. Him finally flipping out on Rhaenyra about being a child of strong. He sort of said it in a way like it was a huge reveal or like he had pieced it together, but he had talked earlier to Baela about his two dads, and he seemed very aware, and so did she, that strong was his father. I mean, I guess I can see him being frustrated. Like, if you were going to choose to have kids with someone that wasn't your husband, could you have done it with someone with like lighter features? Could you not have like thought 2 steps in front of you? Speaking of bastards, let's go to Ulf and Hugh. Hugh's mom having silver hair doesn't necessarily mean she was one of J.H.'s kids. She could have been a bastard of J.H.'s. However, it seems like they're changing lore that J.H.'s daughter Sarah, who went to work in a pleasure house in Essos, is actually the mom. And maybe they don't have to change the lore too bit, because she did have 3 bastard sons, and one was said to be the very image of J.H.'s, so that maybe is Hugh. Each son Sarah had was from a different man, so maybe Hugh left Essos and Sarah because he was so ashamed of her, as he said to his wife. He wanted to make something of his own 2 hands, so he completely rejected her. She had quite a bit of money. She was basically a queen in her own right in the pleasure house, so maybe he just was like, I'm ashamed of you. I'm ashamed of where your money came from. I'm gonna go to King's Landing. I'm going to make a name for myself through my own 2 hands being a smith. Which, okay, the red sewing. A bit different than in lore. I don't understand why she had to lock them all in that room and let them become dragon snacks. She could have just let them do 1-on-1. She just really want to get it over with. I know there was some Ryan Condal, I think, talking about how she believes that this prophecy and she's the chosen one and this was sort of like a ritual sacrifice, but that didn't really come across that in the show. It just came across as her kind of being a dumb bitch. Why would you want to serve someone that you knew just threw all those people to their death and force them to have this just gruesome horror movie scene? Maybe she just wanted to feed her dragon. She was running low on food and it was a 2-for-1 deal. I don't know. I just know that if I saw a ruler do that and be so callous with the lives of others, I'd go, yeah, you know, maybe I'm gonna take this dragon and go to the other side. You seem a little unhinged. Absolutely adore the difference between the 2 dragons. Vermithor wanted someone brave, willing to risk everything to claim them. Silverwing just wants a buddy. Silverwing has to be so excited to have a rider that loves going for joy rides again. I'm assuming Ulf going through King's Landing, flying above it, wasn't because he was trying to lure out Aemond or make a point. It just simply he was going for a joyride, and Silverwing went back to an area that, you know, they have a lot of experience with. Now Vhagar coming. Vhagar is ready to start shit with anyone, and I love it. You came into my territory? Get fucked. Oh, and I'm walking into a 6 versus 1. I feel bad for all of you because it definitely isn't a fair fight for you. I think the whole point of that wasn't to gank Vhagar. It was, as Rhaenyra said, to show she has more dragons and try to force a peaceful surrender. And it makes sense that she wouldn't want to jump Vhagar, because even with greater numbers, that would not end well, because the dragon riders, a lot of them don't know how to control their dragons yet. I'm hoping we get a dragon training montage next episode, maybe see some more dragon fighting, and we could progress the plot maybe a tiny bit in the finale. So as for penultimate episodes, I don't think this one was the best. It was still entertaining, but it didn't really feel like it's pushing the plot forward enough.